Good morning, everybody, and thank you again for joining me. This is set to be our last working remotely video, and hopefully it will be our last as people start to come back to the office. And in this video, I want to discuss the benefits of creating an internal matter for your firm or an administrative file. So as you can see, I do have a new matter generated up here on my screen, and I am doing this for DuPont Goodman and Associates. Perhaps this is something that you want to do in your transition back to the office, but this is also a very helpful tip to use and kind of leverage at any point, at any time, regardless of what's going on. You can use Zola Suite to store things internally that you might want to keep within the realm of all of your other areas of practice. There's no right or wrong way to handle this in how you create it, how you name it, who you assign to it. I would say if it works for your firm, that's the formula that you should go with. So this is just an example of one that I have created. I've marked it as practice area administration just so that it doesn't get mingled with my other practice areas and it does stay separate. I put a little description in there, some client goals. Obviously, this is not going to be a traditional client scenario, but we can still sort of utilize those fields in a way that will work for what we're trying to do here. I can have custom fields for this, and they can be whatever you want them to be. As you know, you can have as many as you might need. So that being said, it might be helpful to create your own practice area just for this purpose. And you're not limited to having one matter for the firm internally. You can have as many as you need. If your attorneys feel that they want one for each of them, that might be a way to go. And I would say that it's important to just have an open discussion about it with everybody within the firm to decide which is the best route to take. I did mark this as non-billable because it's strictly for internal purposes. And I did add some contacts in here. These are some of the attorneys at the firm, and I gave them a role of advisor, and you could change up those roles. You can add a different role if you want. If you want to specify the person's actual title within the company, that's also a very viable option. And another area that I'd like to kind of hone in on is the permissions section, because I know in certain scenarios you may not want everybody to access an administrative matter for a number of reasons. You may have certain sensitive documents in there. You may have a matter that has to do with financials for the firm or HR related information. So you can set custom permissions for this matter, and you can also utilize user groups within your firm settings if there is a group that you want to have permission and then a group that you don't, so that you're not doing this by hand individually on each internal matter that you make. So I am going to create this matter and just sort of go through some of the areas that might be of use to you. So, of course, we discussed custom fields. Building those out for any information that you might want to retain in here is certainly a good idea. And any data that you might need, maybe the number of active employees, maybe the date of hire of certain employees, maybe the number of partners versus associates, or how many practice areas you have. You could go into any detail that you'd like. So I've got my contacts here. You can certainly add to this as well if you want to have all of the firm users. Events and tasks. If there happen to be any firm-related tasks and events, this would be a good place to create them. Please keep in mind, if you do have this set to custom permissions, you can always make an event or a task private. So if you do have it on your calendar or your task list and you don't want others to be able to see what's in it detail-wise, you do have these privacy options. And those would be very helpful in a situation like this. Notes, of course, you can write notes about anything that you might need. You can write notes about procedure. You can have different folders here, and you want to access those in an organized fashion. Any emails that might be pertinent to your firm and firm operations, you can certainly file those in here under communications. We're not really going to have to worry so much about time and expenses or invoices, ledger, and payments. However, if you did want to use a matter like this, sort of a dummy matter or a demo matter to sort of track someone's time, you could certainly do that as well. Documents, you can have as many documents in here as you need, and you can keep templates in here, form letters. If you have an employee handbook that is accessible to everybody and you want that to be readily available, you could put that in here. Anything that might pertain to the company policy, standard releases, forms, things that people might just need to grab and not want to search through different matters to find them. You can organize those very nicely here with a folder structure. If there are any questionnaires that you need employees to fill out, you could, in theory, use the intake forms to do that. And then, of course, you have your options and activity log. But again, this is sort of just a way to adapt a normal Zola matter into something that's going to benefit you from an administrative or internal perspective. There's so much flexibility here because of the level of customization that you can kind of add to this. So if you think of anything that you might want to use this for yourselves, I hope that you get creative with it and that this helps you stay organized and keep everything in one place. As always, if you have any questions, if you have any questions about what you think might be the best way to go about something, or even recommendations on our end that you'd like to give us, we are always available and happy to hear from you. And again, I hope everybody is safe and well, and I thank you for joining me